Hi, everybody. Welcome to Clinting Reads with me, Dimas, where we talk about books in the horror genre, or at least horror adjacent. Today, I'm going to review the book Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. This book was published last year and has quickly become, I think, one of the most popular horror books of 2020, at least from what I can see on the internet. It even won the 2020 Goodreads Reader's Choice Award in the horror category. Now, I have been wanting to read this book for quite some time. At first, I was intrigued by the strikingly beautiful cover, but then I got more interested when I realized that this book, as the title says, falls under the Gothic horror genre. Now, I love Gothic horror stories because to me, they always bring that old timey, elegant, classic, and mysterious vibe to the horror genre that I just don't get from other types of horror subgenre, such as slasher or splatterpunk, to name a few. The great thing about Gothic horror stories for me is that they can instantly transport me to a world that is entirely different from my own. For example, these types of stories are almost always set in the past, or at least the characters behave like they are still in the past. The way they talk is usually very posh or very well mannered, and there are always some old traditions that they keep insisting in doing, regardless of what the modern society says at that time. And more often than not, the stories involve an old castle or an old mansion filled with bloody history, scandals, and secrets. That is why I love Gothic horror stories. I love the gloomy, old timey atmosphere, the slow unfolding of secrets, the feeling that the characters are stuck in time, trapped in a creepy old mansion haunted by ghosts, and that we are there with the main characters trying to find clues to understand the reason behind the haunting and ultimately to find a way to defeat the evil forces. These kinds of stories, for me, does not resemble reality at all, and that is why they are great escapism, especially in troubling times like these. Now, does the book Mexican Gothic successfully give me that excitement and creepy feeling that I crave from the Gothic horror genre? Well, here is my review. Mexican Gothic opens in 1950s Mexico City, where our protagonist, named Noemi Tabueda, just got home from a fancy costume party. She is a bright, sassy, ambitious 20 something socialite and is a daughter of a successful businessman. That night, her father tells her that he just received a strange letter from his orphaned niece named Catalina, who got married around a year ago to a stranger and was basically taken away to live in the countryside. Both Noemi and her father don't hear anything from Catalina for about a year after her marriage. So, to suddenly be receiving a letter from Catalina is, of course, quite surprising. What is more disconcerting is the content of the letter. It seems to them that Catalina is suffering from a delusion. She speaks about how the house that she lives in with her husband is haunted and that she is somehow imprisoned by the people who run the house. Catalina also calls for Noemi to come and save her. Noemi's father is very concerned for her niece and tells Noemi to go to the countryside immediately to find out what is really going on. So, like any good daughter and cousin, Noemi sets off to the countryside where her cousin is currently living. When she arrives there at the train station, she is immediately picked up by this young man named Francis, who then drive her to the real destination, a big old Victorian house named the High Place. As you can probably guess, this is the place where most of the story will take place. Upon arriving at High Place, Noemi then is introduced to the people who are living there. First, there is Howard Doyle, a very old man who owns High Place. He was once a very wealthy man due to his silver mine business many years ago. However, after the mine was closed due to a mysterious cause, he lost most of his wealth and fell ill. His son, named Virgil, is married to Noemi's cousin, and he is a particularly unsympathetic character. There is also Howard Doyle's cousin, named Florence, who are in charge of the house. All of the residents in that house don't seem to like it that Noemi is there. It is clear that Noemi's cousin, Catalina, is very sick. She stays in her room all the time and looks very fragile. She even doesn't remember ever writing a strange letter to Noemi's father. When Noemi voices her concerns to the people in the house, They dismiss her concerns and said that they have everything under control. Now, in addition to having to find out the cause of this mysterious illness that has befell Catalina, Noemi herself begins to see strange things during the night that she spends there in High Place. She suddenly sleepwalks during the night and has nightmares that the house is somehow alive with something. Of course, you have to find out for yourself to know what's really behind the illness, the dreams, the sleepwalking, and all the weird things that happen throughout the story. I must say that in the beginning, I feel like the story moves a little bit too slowly. I feel like there is not much happening in the first hundred or so pages, but upon revisiting various parts of the book to prepare for this review, I found out that those early scenes were filled with clever clues. The conversations that Noemi had with the people in the house and the locals in the countryside, as well as the weird dreams that she keeps on having, they all serve as clues to what's behind the madness. And what a madness it is! I can say that the book has one of the most unique twists in haunted house story. To me, the concept behind the haunting in the story is really creative. And the amazing thing is, for me, the writer managed to include really disgusting and really sick stuff in the book without making the book feel exploitative. The overall tone of the book is mysterious, pulpy in a good way, and so much fun. Part of the fun is seeing how Noemi, the protagonist, handles the situation. She is never hysterical. She always has a plan, and she catches on very quickly to everything that's going on. So I feel like readers would be glad to follow her journey and would want her to persevere. So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. It is not scary in a traditional sense, but it is gloomy, it is mysterious, creative, and fun. All in all, I give Mexican Gothic a 4 out of 5 stars. I had fun reading it, and I think readers who loves Gothic horror and mystery would enjoy this as well. I read somewhere that this book is going to be adapted into a movie. If so, I hope the movie will capture the gloomy, pulpy vibe of the book. I'm sure I'll be watching it when it comes out. So that's my review of Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. If you've read it, let me know what you think of it. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll be seeing you again in the next book review video.